Okay, so today's meeting is going to be all about Cisco and about just basic general round one suggestions. Okay, um, as we go through this, make sure that you are posting questions in that chat window so that people can start to take a look. Okay. So as I said today, expectations for round one, yes. Oh my goodness, round one is here. Round one will be next week. Okay, round one will be next week. Excuse me a second. Boys, out of here now, please. Thank you.
Get out of here. Mom,
okay.
Came in here to hide.
Yes, the first round, the actual real competition, will start on Friday. So let's go over a little bit about what we should be expecting on Friday. Okay. You will again be dismissed from your fourth period teacher so you can eat lunch and kind of get ready for the round. There is an excuse slip in the drop or in the Google Drive. I will go there right now to so that you guys can see it. It is there, printed out, and bring it to your fourth, fifth, and sixth period teachers. Remember that Friday is also the end of the quarter. So you need to make sure that teachers understand that you will not be there. And if you need to go and take a test or do something like that in the middle of the round, then please do that. Do not use Cyber Patriot as an excuse to miss a test unless a teacher is willing to let you do that. So if you look here in the Google Drive, it says excuse sheet for Friday 11/3. Your names are all there. Just figure out which set of the list you have your name on. Get it printed for your fifth, sixth, and fourth, fifth, and sixth period teachers. Okay. So we've got some questions coming in already about the round. Do we need to bring a lunch? Yes, you should bring a lunch that day. Okay, you should bring a lunch that day. And Mr. Bush said points matter. You will be rated. Okay, so yes, during that round, the scoring engine will be going, and you will be scored against the many, 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 many teams across the United States. Okay. You have 2 rounds to qualify for the different levels, the platinum, gold, or silver. Round 1 and round 2 are qualifying rounds, okay? And what will happen is that you will be able to get those points and they add them up, and then those points put you into specific categories, okay? Trying to look at these different questions here that have popped up. What points? When you actually correct something in the operating system you're working on, it will give you points, just like you had in that practice round. Okay. There was another question. It says, can you choose whether you want to do Windows or Ubuntu, or what was that question? I think it was Tori, you asked it. But you guys are all posting questions here, so I can't scroll back. But yes, Victoria, you guys will have 3 things that you are going to be doing. You are going to be doing a Windows 7 image. You have a Windows 7 image, you have a Ubuntu image, and you have a Cisco quiz, which we are going to talk about tonight. The Windows 7 points are out of 100 points. The Ubuntu, which is Linux, is 100 points. And then the quiz is 22 points. So there's 222 points total. Okay. So that is what how the round is broken down. Okay. So please make sure you have your pass available and ready to go. Okay. Second thing is that I created a South High School Cyber Patriot Shutterfly site for everyone. And I shared it with your parents. Of course, it's not letting me log in. I shared it with your parents as well so that they can have an opportunity to see what we're doing and maybe volunteer to bring in some snacks or some drinks or dessert or something like that. We will try and get you guys some food, but the options for food this year are a little sketchy, and we're trying to still sort that out. Okay. So there's that. One of the other things I did with this Cyber Patriot thing is I put in a calendar so that you guys can kind of see the dates of things, and I will add to that as we go. But I did this mostly for your parents so that we can do that and kind of see what if they had any questions or concerns about it as well. Okay. So make sure you subscribe to the Shutterfly so that you guys can see. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the Cisco quiz, okay? And for all of you that are chatting here really quick, I'm going to let Mr. Bush kind of explain what Cisco is to everyone before we get too far into our conversation here, okay? Mr. Bush, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Hi, can everybody hear me? So first of all, Cisco is a company. It's a Cisco system. What they do, or what they're known for, is networking equipment. They, and especially now and for a long time, they've been the #1 networking equipment in the world. And what their networking equipment does is basically connect internets together. So you can create a small network in your house or whatever, but when you're getting back out onto the net, eventually you're going to probably hit a Cisco networking device. And they're concerned with the getting the the whole network to work together. So that is a primary thing is routing network packets from one computer to another. And that's how the internet works, is you start with a computer, it bounces around onto the internet and eventually makes it to the destination, and then you'll get a response back. So every time you're browsing a web page, that web page is somewhere on the network, and it has to connect from you to that web page back. So what the Cisco network challenges are all about is that there is you can become certified with Cisco networking equipment, and they use the same Network Academy to do some of those certifications. That what they partnered with the Cyber Patriots to provide access to their Network Academy, and then also there's some modules. I don't know if they prepared them or someone in the Cyber Patriots did, but basically to teach you networking. And so everybody should have gotten signed up from Mrs. Wood. He sent out to get people going. Once with Cyber Patriots, you need to be able to go through the modules, which is an application, and that will help you score on these quizzes. Will be counted towards your points on the Cyber Patriots competitions. So it's different. It's they do have some live. It's the packet tracer, which is basically a simulation of networks that you'll have to be able to use in future rounds. I think this one is just quizzes, or is it also have the packet tracer?
No, this round is just the quiz, but the next round will have a quiz and a packet tracer. And we are actually going to go through step by step on how to get to the NetAcad website so that you can get there and be able to look at that for the next 2 weeks.
So that's the little intro. Does anybody have any questions about that? You could try Googling, Cisco networking, and you'll probably see some pictures of it. and get a sense for what it really is. So for Cyber Patriots, all the stuff we do, we're dealing with our individual computers, but this tries to get you a sense for the whole, how the internet works, because cybersecurity is relies on those networks. And there's things like firewalls and connectivity you have to worry about. So that's it for the intro. If you have any questions, just ask them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just be quiet for now.
Andy, you said, should we print out the checklist for our operating system for the competition? It's helpful. It's also helpful to have a team Google Drive that may have things linked to our Google Drive. I know that the Firewall Nation girls have that as their own Google Drive. So if you look back here on the slide here, it says Cisco Network Challenge is it's part of round 1. It's a 22-point quiz that is multiple choice, and Melina Imamura is pretty much an expert on the Cisco Challenge. So Melina, if I am saying things wrong, please feel free to jump in and unmute yourself and jump in. But you should have gotten an email that looks just like the image in the bottom corner here. I'll make it bigger. It was sent to your TUSD email. It says Cisco Network Academy with your name, how to log in, and then your username and your temporary password. Okay. You need to access this as soon as possible in the next week, because if you don't, you are going to be severely lost when it comes to the actual quiz itself. Okay. So from there, once you have gotten that email, it will send you to the NetAcad link, and it will look like this. Okay. When you log in, it will look like that. Okay. And then from there, you are going to see My NetAcad. Okay. It is My NetAcad. Okay. So in the bottom right, or if you are all signed up for 3 different courses right now, and if I go there right now, you will see this. And thank you, Ashley, for letting me see your NetAcad user. Okay. What you will see here is that there are 3 different classes that you can take. One, it says Intro to IoT, and that means Introduction to the Internet of All Things. There is a course specifically on NDG Linux Essentials. And then there is the course on Cisco Cyber Patriot content. Your quizzes and the packet tracer information are going to be based on the Cyber Patriot content. So if you launch the course, okay, and it's going to take you to this area that says it's set up into modules. You click on Launch Course, and then you have a bunch of different modules that you can go through and take a look at, okay? And each one of these is going to take you to information about IP addressing in Cisco and in the internet, okay? These are all just different slides that you have there, okay? There are activities that are in there. Some of the activities are really great, and some of them are really not great, okay? Do you have to finish all of them? No, you don't have to, but I'm going to tell you right now that round 1, the quiz is on modules 3 through 7. So they can ask you any questions on modules 3 through 7. Okay? So you need to be ready for that. Okay? In the round 2, you have a quiz on modules 8 through 12. Okay, in round 3, it's modules 13 to 15. And then round 4 is modules 16 through 19. And yes, you can look at these all during the competition. But remember you have 6 hours to do this, and you have 6 hours for the OS and for the and just for the quiz itself, okay? So it's very important that you are paying attention to what you are doing, okay? Okay, let me get back there, okay? So it's a little bit confusing because it says that you are looking at modules 3 through 7, but it also says IP addressing ITN chapter 7. This has to do with an actual exam that you can take when you turn 18 to get a certification in Cisco, okay? So that is kind of important if you are looking into doing something like this later on in life. You are actually getting a ton of free resources right now, which is pretty amazing, okay? So the first round is modules 3 to 7. Round 2 is modules 8 to 12. Round 3 is modules 13 to 15. And round 4 is modules 16 to 19, okay? So that's kind of how it all runs. So you need to be accessing this as soon as possible. In fact, as kind of a takeaway of tonight, your homework is that I would like you guys to access this and get into it. From my account, I can see what you guys have done, where you have gone, and what you have loaded into, and how long you have been in the Cisco network system. So pay attention to that because I can see it. And when you tell me, yeah, I've done it, I can say, yeah, for a hot second, okay? Whereas some people will spend hours upon hours, right, Melina? So again, I've got these slides here. You needed to access it using from your ETUSD email, okay? You've got you're logging in here. You're going to access this different NetAcad, okay? Accessing the Cyber Patriot content, and then looking at modules 3 through 7. The bare minimum, Isaac, for you guys to complete is modules 3 through 16, did I say? 19. 3 through 19. Melina, can you touch base on how long that took you to do last year? Yes, Donna, 3 through 19. Round 1 is 11-3, yes. Round 2 will take place on December 8th. What Melina just said, I didn't even get that far, but I slacked off after Cyber Patriot was over. So what you really honestly need to do is you need to become familiar with the Net Academy software and really how to just do a search of things inside there. Okay, so if I go here and I'm going to have a question specifically on lands, then I would go over here where it's VLANs, and I would maybe start my search here. Okay. Sonia, yes, everyone needs to access this, okay? At the bare minimum, you need to be browsing this to get familiar with the actual Net Academy, okay? Ashley, you have been accessing the Linux side of the coursework, haven't you? Okay, do you want to unmute yourself for a second and kind of talk about the Linux, if you can, the Linux course just a little bit?
Hey. I honestly haven't gotten that far. I went in and I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. But they actually have like a built-in like terminal that you can, it's like a side-by-side thing where they tell you the lesson and they're like, oh, use this command and you can type it in immediately and you can pretty much like simulated at that point. So it's really cool and it's really fun. Like literally, don't listen to the people in chat. They suck and they're not telling the truth. So it's actually really cool. You guys should totally check it out. Like in your spare time too, not because Miss Wood is forcing you.
So this is the Linux course, and as you can see on the right-hand side, it is loading the kernel, and on the left-hand side is the actual text that it's having you go through. So for those of you that are not very comfortable in the Linux command window and using a command window, it might give you a really great opportunity to work through some of the stuff that you are not comfortable with. Okay, Ashley, thank you so much for commenting on that. Melina, I know you haven't unmuted yourself, but do you want to talk about just the quiz for the Cisco quiz really quick? Or Ren, I don't know if you guys have accessed that. Yes, during the rounds. Do you know, Maya, do you want to talk about it a little bit since your mic is on? Or Leon? Brennan, your question is why don't you just Google the answers? Because the answers are very specific in the Cisco quiz, and you will be able to get the answers from the coursework. Melina, go ahead.
Oh, wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. So the quizzes are kind of like they ask you, oh, what's the subnet mask of this IP address or something that's like kind of specific. Sometimes they give you like a scenario, or sometimes they'll like give you different definitions of things and ask you what it is. So for some of them you can search, but then for some of them you have to kind of use the information they give you and then figure it out yourself.
I would have to say that the first time that we did the Cisco quiz, it was very confusing for everyone, but the more people delved into the coursework of Net Academy, the better and easier it got. Would you agree, Melina?
Yeah. And then also I would do the packet tracers that they have on the NetAcad because they're really useful and they teach you the commands you need to use. So
we will have another GoToMeeting about the packet tracer because I think that it's very important to talk about a little bit. And because, again, it can be very confusing the first time you do it. We are not worrying about packet tracer for this competition. We won't worry about that until December. But maybe after next week, we will take a look at that so that you guys can get a little bit more familiar with it. Mr. Bush, do you want to comment on that a little bit? Thanks, Melina.
Basically, about which, sorry, this is what I was reading something.
That's okay.
About the about the packet tracer?
Yeah, just maybe comment about the quiz, the Cisco quiz and the packet tracer themselves a little bit.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. There is actually a packet tracer app too, so you could get for your iPhone, or I'm sure they probably have one for Android also. But basically, it is a little simulation. It'll show you a network, and within that network, you'll be able to do things like click on a computer and do like a terminal command like you would if you were actually interacting with a real computer. And what they're trying to teach you sort of like how, with different aspects, different like networking equipment, like for example, you know, we all know about turning firewall for the on Windows, for example, but firewalls are also physical networking devices that can be turned on. So in some cases, you may be faced with a problem with network traffic is going from point A to point B, and you've got to solve the problem. So the tracer will be basically say, okay, well, why is network traffic on this network not making it from point A to point B? And that you'll have to answer it by querying with the packet tracer to get the answer. So it is really cool, and it does really help you sort of get to the what they're talking about in the training. So definitely recommend that. I wanted to also suggest that, you know, I'm not sure they had this year. Frankly, I don't know. I didn't try it, but this whole thing with Linux is really nice because those of you who just had to learn Linux by Googling and by trying it, this is a chance for someone to take you through as in a classroom type environment to get you up to speed on Linux. So all those pros and experts out there, you're going to benefit greatly from this already. So I'm talking about folks who hadn't had this option last year. Don't assume that you already know it all. It would be a benefit for you. That's it, unless there's some questions.
No, no, that was, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions on that? Brennan, you were asking, is Linux in chapters 3 through 19? No, it's not. There are 3 courses that are available to you. The first one is called Intro to IoT, the Internet of Everything. And then you have the Linux NDG, Linux Essentials class. And then you have the Cyber Patriot coursework that is specifically on Cisco. Okay, so there are 3 different courses you can work in. The quiz and the packet tracer are specifically going to be required. The last one right here, the Cyber Patriot, the third one, Cyber Patriot, Cisco partner one right here. Okay, the one I'm clicking on. Okay, this is the Cisco Cyber Patriot course that's going to give you the information and the challenge, like the questions and the tracers are all going to come from here. Okay, so you see how it says Chapter 1 Packet Tracer Lab? This is what Melina was talking about. Go and practice these labs. Okay, this will help you.
And Mr. Wood?
Yes.
We were talking, there was some story in the back earlier about how people specialize, and some in the past, some focused just on the Cisco, and we had a Linux and Windows expertise. And I know that this year we're trying to make sure that people have skills in all. And also, you mentioned that as part of the course requirements, everyone needed to sign in and use the Cisco Net Academy. But some people I think were asking what they needed to do in terms of for course credit, how much of it they need to get through or what.
Yeah, you guys need to complete chapters 3 through 19. I said that a little bit earlier, okay?
So that is for the course credit. So if they don't do that, if they don't get through that training, then they don't get credit for class, or is that part of their grade?
Yes, that's part of the grade. Zaid, you need to make sure that you are completing the chapters as we go through the different competitions. Ashley is right. It is a lot of information. It is a lot of information, and it's very overwhelming because these courses are geared towards college students. Brennan, there is no possible way that you are going to be able to complete all 3 from 3 to 7 by next Friday and be able to finish all of your classes and everything else. So no, you do not have to complete it by next Friday, but you should be accessing it and trying to go over some of the information so that you can get all 22 questions correct as quick as possible. As I said before, Brennan and all of you, I'm not expecting you guys to complete each of these modules by the rounds that we're doing, okay? What my expectation is that you have accessed it and have familiarized it. Maybe read the different summaries, okay? Maybe read the different summaries so you know and are aware of where information is. most of you have 5 to 6 people on your teams, okay? If you are doing chapters or modules 3 to 7, divide them up and conquer. One person do module 3, one person do module 4, one do 5, one do 6, one do 7, okay? Andy, we're working on that. Don't worry. Are there any other questions as of right now?
Be sure, if you have questions, like when you're going to be going through the Cisco things, a great resource is Mr. Rodriguez. He knows stuff very well. So anyway, please use us, and we're here to help.
Maya, I don't understand what you're asking.
The OG images.
Yes. Thank you. The some of you, the people who were in Cyber Patriot from that had played the games last year, there was an email sent on Sunday out that asked you to sign up for to create an image, and then to that'll be due December 1st. Many of you have not done that, and I am going to be hounding you to do this and get ready for it, because I would like to know by Friday, which is 2 days from now, what we are going to be doing. So Shreya, you should have been sent an email from the Net Acad once you registered with US Cyber Patriot. So if you have not registered with US Cyber Patriot yet, you need to go back and look through your E2SD email for the email that was sent by US Cyber Patriot. Once you have done that, you will get a Net Acad temporary username and password. Any other questions? I know tonight was brief, but it was very important information that we needed to get out to you guys. So go ahead, make sure you guys are looking at the Cisco. Make sure you guys have signed up for your images. Make sure you guys take a look at the Shutterfly site. And Brennan, I don't know which module has the most work. Go ahead and get your homework done for tonight. And if you have any questions, find me in the next 2 days. Most of the time I will be in the library because it's been way too hot, but after school I will be in my room Thursday and Friday for you guys to log into Cisco and get started, because many of you guys are going to need some help. Melina's saying, no, make everyone do everything. Chapters won't make sense if you split them up. Okay, I would look at the module summaries. That's what I would do. If I were you guys, I would make sure I look at the summaries. Yes, there's training after school tomorrow. All right, I'm headed to do bath time. I will see you guys later.